As with any major metropolitan city, problems abound, such as crime, homelessness, adequate parks, income inequality, and traffic flow. Most major cities, such as Paris, Moscow, and Chicago, have the capability to expand and draw from their surroundings to help alleviate these issues. But Tbilisi can't, and this is a big problem for both the city and citizens alike. Tbilisi has a geography problem. Tbilisi is situated in a bowl. To the north is the Saguramo Range, to the west and southwest is the eastern terminus of the Trialeti Range, and to the east is Makhata Hill. There is only one small corner of Tbilisi that opens to a flat area. What's more, the mountains of Tbilisi's western half almost reach to the Mitkwari River, making for adequate road and public transit planning particularly difficult. For most of Tbilisi's history, the city has been able to grow in this bowl. At first, the city consisted of the Gala, Tatsminda, Akhmashinabeli, and Avlabadi districts. Later, during the Soviet era, Sabotatala was built in a long, narrow valley, and the districts of Guldani and Vodakatili were built in the city's largest flat areas. Today, there is only one remaining flat district which has room to expand, Dikhomi. The effects of Tbilisi's geography problem are beginning to show. The most obvious problem of having a city with more than 1 million people being situated in a bowl is air pollution. According to the World Health Organization, in 2018, only Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan had worse air quality in Europe than Georgia. Most of this has been blamed on Georgia's high amount of elderly people as a total percentage of the country's population, the usage of old vehicles, and the high population of Tbilisi vis-a-vis the rest of Georgia. According to that same report, if Tbilisi were to be excluded, then Georgia's ranking would be on par with the European average. The Georgian government has done much to help increase air quality in the city, including building a bypass road for transit vehicles, banning transit vehicles within the city itself, installing electric car charging stations, implementing emissions laws, and updating all public buses to modern EU standards. The problem, however, will still remain despite those efforts thanks to Tbilisi's geography. Connecting Tbilisi's districts with above and below ground transit methods is difficult due to the depth of the Mitkwari River, the mountainous topography, and the hard rock which lies beneath the city. For example, connecting the district of Dikhomi, which has seen the largest population increase of all of Tbilisi's districts, with the rest of the city by metro is a difficult task. The metro must either cross the river, which in and of itself poses multiple logistical challenges, or it must go under a mountain. This problem also persists for Tbilisi's Sabotatalo district, which is the second most populated district in all of Tbilisi. Sabotatalo only has 6 exits which connect it to the rest of the city, despite it having a population of around 100,000 people, making traffic congestion in and out of Sabotatalo paralyzing. To compound Tbilisi's geography problem is the rapid touristicization of the city center. This means that many apartments in the historic center of Tbilisi are being renovated and rented out to tourists, which only exaggerates all of the aforementioned problems. In the meanwhile, locals are forced to live on the edges of the city, which increases traffic and air pollution, along with forcing many of the city's traditional stores, such as grocery stores, pharmacies, and cafes, to be replaced by souvenir shops and tourist-friendly restaurants. Many other geographically constrained cities, such as San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Barcelona, have seen their cost of living soar as city resources have been repurposed for temporary tourists, making residents feel as if they are increasingly guests in their own city. In Tbilisi, this problem frequently manifests itself in the form of nationalist marches, particularly along Akhmashinabeli Avenue. Nationalist marches are commonplace in the touristy areas of Tbilisi since many Georgians feel that in the heart of the Georgian capital, it is easier to find a Turkish or Iranian cafe than a Georgian one, and more common to hear Russian than Georgian. As Tbilisi residents continue to compete for space with tourists in their own city, their animosity towards tourists and foreigners alike will only increase. In the past, Tbilisi's geography served to its advantage, protecting it from invading armies, but today, its geography has brought in armies of tourists, which is only worsening decades of poor urban planning in an already exceptionally difficult geographical setting. This is bringing in a new era into Tbilisi's history, an era which will be defined by the mayor's and central government's capabilities to plan into the future. For more information on Tbilisi and Georgia as a whole, visit our website www.visiting-georgia.com.